Welcome back to Western Mass News, your school authority. And as of right now, schools in Mass are planning for spring 2021 MCAS testing.
And I spoke with area superintendents to get their thoughts on the decision to continue standardized testing.
It's a lot of testing at a time when instructional time is at a premium.
The latest news from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education: schools should plan for spring 2021 MCAS testing in grades 3 through 8, taking place in April and May. Area superintendents Western Mass News spoke with say they have concerns.
We'll be prepared should we have to administer the MCAS. I certainly think to use it for accountability at this juncture would be very foolish, and I would say just about every superintendent would argue that.
We have concerns, certainly because we are in a hybrid model. About 30% of our students are fully remote. So how would they take the test? They're going to need to come into school to take the test, and the problem with that is their parents have opted not to send their students to school.
Westfield Public Schools superintendent says he's worried parents may opt their children out of the test, which would have a negative impact on the overall report for the district. Another concern is getting students to testing locations.
Right now, with only being able to fill our buses with a 1/3 capacity, we don't have any additional space in our buses to bring additional students to school.
Springfield Public Schools Superintendent Dan Warwick tells Western Mass News officials should consider an online-based exam.
If we're still doing our schools remotely, we should be allowed to administer the MCAS remotely at that time. I wouldn't bring kids into school against the advice of the health commissioner if we're still in remote education at that juncture.
But an online-based test could be problematic and raise some concerns.
There are specific secure platforms that need to be used, and how would that be put onto a home? If a student was using a device at their house, we wouldn't be able to put that software onto their device. We can only put it on our devices.
In light of the pandemic and in recognition that schools may not be able to test as many students at the same time, the DESE is providing the following flexibilities for this year's testing. Longer testing windows, so districts have time to test students who may be in school on certain days due to hybrid learning or have other learning arrangements. And suspending the requirement for concurrent testing on specific test dates for high schools. An initial schedule was released to help schools and districts plan. English language arts and mathematics testing will be administered in January and May. Retesting for students in grades 11 and 12 and first-time testing for students in grade 10 will take place in May. DESE officials say conditions for the MCAS may change because of the evolving nature of the COVID-19 pandemic.
I think that spending the time on structured learning time would be a better use of time. But if they go forward with MCAS, we're preparing to administer it.
In order for the MCAS to be canceled or altered, both the state and federal government would have to approve any changes.